Welcome, everybody, to Can You Believe It's the first Speaker Circle of 2025? I can't believe it. And thank you very much for being here. If you are a coach, a consultant, or a service provider, and you are looking to leverage speaking opportunities as your best form of marketing, you are in the right place. This podcast, Be in Demand, is all about how to leverage speaking opportunities so that you get positioned as the expert, attract the quality clients that you're looking for, and monetize your message. This is the Speaker Circle. And if you haven't been here before, this is where I do a mini training, about 10 to 15 minutes. Then everybody who is here live has the opportunity to ask me some questions, and we'll have a discussion about the training. And then if there is still time, I will open the floor up to any questions about speaking and how I can help you. And then we will go around the room and everybody will introduce themselves, because you know how I feel about knowing other speakers. Speakers need to know other speakers, not just meeting planners. I will share a fun story. I once was talking with a speaker booking agent. She was doing a tour around the country, meeting her clients. I said, "Oh, other speakers." She said, "No, meeting planners." I was like, "Yeah, but speakers are your clients. Like, you have two different clients." She didn't see it that way. And I do believe that we as speakers, both meeting planners, are our clients, but we need to network with other speakers and build those relationships, because those people can be referring you. Because do you know how difficult it is to find a good speaker? And if you've already spoken for an event, then a meeting planner will be like, "Oh yeah, I would love to know who else you could recommend for next year." And I just tell them, reach out to me and tell me what you want a speaker on, what topic. And they're always very excited. So I love to refer my clients. If you're noticing my background is a little different, that's because I am down in Florida right now. I am going to be headed up to Orlando from West Palm Beach. I am attending PodFest, which coincidentally is where I got the idea for this particular type of community call and how I put it onto my podcast. This is my way of my audience being a part of the show. So if you are listening to this on a later date and you notice that there's a difference in the quality of audio, this is not an acoustic room by any means. It's a tile floor. So today, the topic that I want to share with everybody is about an unconventional way, or maybe not unconventional, but it's not thought of very much as a way to find and locate speaking events. Now, Charlotte is coming in from overseas. So Charlotte, the only reason why I'm bringing you up is I would be curious if it works overseas. The first one that I want to share with everybody is a conference app, and PodFest is actually using it. They used it last year, and this year I took a better look at the app. It's called the Whova, WHOOVA. I also tried going into the Apple App Store to see if I could find any others that were similar to this, and I couldn't. So it seems that a lot of conferences have their own custom app. The beauty of this app is I could type in Boston, and all the conferences and events that are using the Whova app are going to show up. Now, if you happen to be traveling, you could be looking up, hey, so for myself, I'm going to be in Orlando this week, but I'm here in the Florida area for the next 2 weeks. If I had thought about this 2 months ago, 3 months ago, looked up some of these conferences, I could have reached out to people just in case they had a speaker who stepped out, because speakers step out for lots of different reasons. There's been an emergency at home. Weather could prevent their flight from getting there on time. Illness. There's a whole bunch of reasons, things that just come up. I've even heard of speakers. Typically, we book our own flights. And sometimes when you get a lot of flights to book, you end up booking them to the wrong city. So could you imagine you're not arriving at your event because you booked your flight to the wrong city? So things like this happen. And so being able to reach out to the right person. It's not necessarily the meeting planner. Meeting planners do help organizations and associations with their event planning, but you want to see if you can find out who the responsible person is for that event, for that association. Tip number 2 is look up different conference centers. So in the Boston area, one of them happens to be the Heinz Auditorium. I am going to walk you through this. I am going to type in, just because I'm picking Boston convention centers. And there's a number of convention centers that are in the Boston area. Boston Convention Center, Massachusetts Convention Center, tons of different places. And here's the lovely. So let's just pick the Heinz Convention Center because I keep talking about it. I'm going to go to their website. This is their homepage. And what's on their homepage? There is a list. We're going to find the events. Boston Convention Center, plan your event, exhibits, attend an event. You're looking for an attended event or an event calendar. So here's the event calendar. This is going to list all the different events that are public and private that are being held at the Heinz Convention Center. Let's see. Let's pick a month. Let's just go to April, just because it's a few months out. And these are all the different events that are being held here. American Association of Endos, Global Surgical. You're going to see a lot of medical conferences here in the Boston area because it's the medical mecca of the East Coast. The Boston Marathon is also being held here. American Association of Neurological Surgeons. Let's see. Let's move on to, does anybody have a preference? You want to look at one of these? Just unmute or put in the chat which one you would like to look at. Otherwise, I'm going to move over to May. See if there's something that we would like to look at. So now I want you to notice some of these are gray. So Mass General Hospital Institute commencement. It's a private graduation and it is May. So there's going to be a lot of private events here. Massachusetts Apartment Association. I once spoke for a condo association. So let's just pick this because what you do want to do, you may think it's condos, it's apartments. How could my topic actually tie in? You won't know until you start to look at the event. And hold on a second. For questions or to exhibit, please contact, and here's your contact person. And if you're a speaker and she's not in charge of speakers, she will refer you or forward your email to the person who is in charge of speakers because you were just trying to be of service to them. So let's just go to this because we quickly saw it did say 22. So they've already got their 2025 event listed. And they should because it's only a few months away. Let's look at the schedule. Here's the schedule of events. And you just start reading, we've got DEI, we've got mindfulness at work, something you might not have expected for apartments. And we've got a professional breakfast and workshop. Here we've got the morning keynote. We might want to check him out and see what he is about. Trade shows, seated lunch, trade shows, and here's the afternoon. Strategies for career growth and development. Here's a leadership talk. Again, we're talking about an apartment association here in Massachusetts. That is one thing that I wanted to share with you. And the other thing, we're just going to click on the speaker because I'm hoping it brings us to other speakers. And it does. I want you to see how some of these bios are written. I would love to see some of these sessions. These aren't clickable, but maybe later on. Wait a minute. Breakfast sessions. This is what I want you to see. I want you to see that this is a title and they only have just a short paragraph. This is probably 3 sentences long. This one's a little bit longer, but notice they don't have any bullets. So one of the things I tell my clients is if you are submitting a proposal for any association that has ever had a conference before, give it to them in the way that they are used to. Give it to them in the way that they are accustomed to actually advertising it. So if there were 2 bullets, I would say give them 2 bullets and no more than 2 bullets. If there was only a title and it said, here's what your audience is going to walk away with, like this one says learning objectives. So just take notice. Try to give people the information in the way that they are expecting it. Now, my third tip for speaking, if you know somebody who speaks on your topic, it's called follow the leader. Somebody who is just 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. I want you to follow them. Have a Google alert, because a lot of times speakers will also list on their website where they're speaking and the different organizations that they are speaking for. Now, these are typically your professional speakers, but I also want you to build those relationships with other speakers, especially if you can find somebody that you have a complementary topic so that you could be referring each other back and forth. So that's something that I really encourage everybody to do. So those are 3 different tips on how to get booked to speak, how to find more speaking events. Now, when you're using the convention center and you're looking at their agenda, as you can see, it takes a lot of work. And this is the sort of stuff that most people are not willing to do. They just want to find the, hey, where's the call for speakers? Let me throw in my application. Done deal. But start to get to know the organization, see what kind of events they actually host, and dive deeper into the event so that you can see, like, what kind of topics are they having, like we were just looking at. But also, one thing that I share with my clients is notice what's missing. So when you're going to conferences this year and in the future, I want you to notice what's missing. Whatever's going on in the world, whatever different styles and trends are, like what's missing from this conference. That way you could help address that next year. So I hope that was informative. Maybe a little like, I never thought about doing some of this stuff. And who has a question? Now we will open the floor up to any questions about what I just shared, and then we'll open it up to any other questions. You can just feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
I love this. Even as you were talking, I immediately thought, well, and just a little bit, you know this already, Laurie-Ann, but so we are nomadic, right? So this idea of I can look ahead on where we are planning to be. Whereas before, I think I was thinking of it like, gosh, traveling to speak is so much more complicated because I never know where I need to be flying out of and when I'm going to be there. But this feels so much more doable. I love it. Thank you. But the question that came up for me, or I guess where my mind took it that I'd love some support on is, okay, so I immediately, as you were talking about it, looked at the place where we're planning to head next, just out of curiosity. And I thought, okay, I almost feel like because I've been coached to niche down so specifically, I almost am struggling to be creative with how a certain event would benefit from my expertise outside of just my type of person dealing with my type of problem. I would love like a conversation, or can we talk through that or something? I don't know.
I'm going to give you a homework assignment.
Okay, I'm ready.
I want you to practice. So go into like the Heinz Convention Center, pick any one of those conferences that are happening, and it doesn't have to be that far in the future. I actually, anything. You can pick stuff that's right in January or February. I want you to look at those conferences, look at the agenda if you can, because it'll be good practice for you to try to go to their website, find the agenda for the event. I want you to teach yourself how to find a way to fit into that conference. And I don't care if it's an automotive conference. Like once you pick it, like do the entire month of February. That'll be your homework assignment.
Got it.
The entire month of February, all of those conferences that are at the Heinz Auditorium, I want you just to go in there and you're like, and this is the way that I could serve this particular audience. Just practice thinking outside the box.
I have a thought. Sorry. Go ahead. I just was going to say this feels very counterintuitive. So I'm excited to play around with it. I could easily see myself going down the slippery slope of like, even the one I looked up, I was like, oh, I could come up with a topic for this. Like this, I could come up with, but it's not necessarily like an audience that I would think is going to be full of people who would end up being paying clients. So would this then fall under the referrals and like speakers, no speakers and things like that?
Well, I just want you to practice. It doesn't mean like, let's just hypothetically say it's an automotive conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's just say they're teachers of, automotive. Right. It's not your ideal audience. I just want you to figure out, knowing what I know about my topic, how could I make a topic that fit into...
That feels less hard. Okay.
Yeah. We're not trying to get you booked.
No, I know.
I just want you to think differently about the conference and because you're going to start to look at it differently. You can be like, oh, there's a leadership one. Like what we were looking at with the apartment conference, they had something on mindfulness, something on career, building your career. Interesting. Just interesting. Yeah. Amy, you had a comment that you wanted to share.
You just said it. Because I was like, what would I ever have to say to somebody that is, with a condo association, right? But then you start thinking then you start looking at the different breakouts, and it's just not all about that, because in general, they're also addressing self-development and this and that in order to be good at whatever you're doing. So it was interesting when I saw the mindfulness and the other things like that. I thought, you really could find something in most things. You could find something that you could fit, whether or not they're your client or not, but you could. So that was interesting, because my mind was like, oh no, I would never find somebody there. But then there it was, right?
Just never know. And I think a lot of conferences and event planners, conference organizers, they really want a well-rounded conference, not just all about the nitty-gritty. Let's have some more interesting things, because we are, as companies, as associations, like we really are molding all of the person, not just their part where they're just doing their job.
So you would question to them and say, hi, I'm a professional speaker, and I just happen to I'm going to be there when your conference is going on, and I see you were having a presentation on X, Y, and Z, and I can talk about something similar. So if, God forbid, the speaker gets laryngitis, you can call me?
Essentially. So this has happened to me. I was attending a plastic conference with my husband, because that's what you do on your birthday when the plastic conference was in Dallas. This was literally the opening line. My husband was like, want to go to Dallas for your birthday? And I was like, what's in Dallas? Anyways, I decide I am going to make the most of this situation. And while I'm there, I'm going to go find who started this, because this is when I was speaking on leadership. There was not a single session on leadership. And the conference was full of CEOs. Those were the type of people who were there. I was introduced to somebody. I was introduced to somebody else. He said, oh, I have a business conference for the scrap metal industry. He goes, that's what I do. And I said, well, do you have all your speakers? Yes, we have all of our speakers. When do you start booking and planning for next year? And he told me. I said, fantastic. I'll reach out to you then. We exchanged business cards. He called me 2 weeks later saying one of my speakers dropped out. And my topic slipped in so perfectly to this person. Like, they didn't even have to change the title. It just worked. But I gave my keynote, my speech, not somebody else's. So you just never know. I was just like, I was available for him. And I have reached out to conferences and let them know I'm just north of Boston, typically. Like, hey, I'm in the area. This is what I speak on. If you ever find yourself in a predicament where you need a speaker, feel free to reach out to me. And more times than not, I got responses back that said, thank you so much. So you just never know. Who else has a question, comment? Just feel free to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Oh,
First, I'm like, where's the raise your hand button? I have a question really quickly. I think you just answered it though. I wanted to know, because we're starting, January 2025. How do you find speaking engagements now? Because I'm pretty sure it's all booked up in different places. Is that right? Or are there still things being planned for this year?
oh, there's a lot of things being planned.
Okay.
So some events are planned out, months, years in advance. It depends on the size of the conference. But let's just take it a little bit smaller. Some of the smaller associations that have monthly meetings, some of those type of associations actually will book out the entire year, while other associations are more of a month to month. So it depends on who your ideal client is and what kind of audiences you are trying to get in front of, Sherry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What kind of audiences are you trying to get in front of?
Oh, I'm just starting. I've been speaking.
You're just starting.
I'm just starting. My main audience has been in like the Christian world, speaking about more religious type of dialogue. And I am a heart disease survivor, so I've done some work with the American Heart Association, and so they've honored me during their Go Red for Women campaign in 2020. So I was able to raise funds for the organization to give back.
Fantastic. So did you do some speaking for them?
I did not. So this is why I'm on this call. So figure out how in the world to do all of these.
Okay. So I have done speaker breakthrough sessions, but I've also done solo episodes about using your warm market. I can't recall exactly what episode, but there is one from last fall where I literally walked you step by step. Use your warm market first before you start tapping into a colder market or like these bigger conferences, because the people who already know and like and trust you are going to say, yeah, Sherry, you would come speak to my group. It may not be a big group, but you are starting to build up your speaker assets.
Okay.
And getting known. And that's, like, let's just say there's 20 people that you speak to. That's 20 people who just learned about you, your story, your message. And in those sort of smaller, intimate situations, you can then just ask people, hey, if you know of a organization, association, a club that is looking for a speaker that would benefit from my story, I would love the warm introduction.
Okay.
I have done this at events that I spoke at, and I cannot, you wouldn't believe how many people will come up to you afterwards, hand you a business card, if it's an in-person event, and say, you need to go speak to this other group that I'm a part of.
Okay.
Be outstanding on the stage.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Glad that you're here.
Thank you.
Yes, Carolyn, just looking at the title of that is the name of the episode. Can you tell me what episode number that is? Sherry, go listen to 262. That's your homework assignment today.
Will do. Thank you.
Anybody else? Apparently I'm in a teacher mode here.
I'll dive in. Knowing that I've not fully dug into your resources yet, so that could just be a similar, like, just point me in the right direction with this. I would love to know a good starting place for teasing out my kind of 2 to 3 signature topics.
One is you and I could sit down and tease that out. My second idea is, what are 3 things that you love to talk about? Love to talk about. There's 3 criterias for this. You got to love talking about it. You got to have experience in it. And the third one is, are people willing to pay for it? My example for that is customer service. I'm a speaker on customer service. Well, guess what? No one's buying customer service these days. Now, if you word it as customer engagement, I have a talk a workshop, a breakout, I'm an expert in customer engagement, people will pay for that. It's different wording, but you also have to make sure your wording is in the same words that your buyer wants to buy it in. So those are the three things about the topics. You got to love it. You got to have experience, and are people willing to pay for it? Great question.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
So I suck at coming up with titles. It's one of my weaknesses. And I'm going to be speaking at the end of February at a group about how to know when it's time to add a bookkeeper to your team. But boy, is that a boring title.
Lawrence, you are the bow tying fountain.
Bow tie wearing, fountain pen wielding online CPA. Except I'm not wearing a bow tie today because it didn't go with the shirt. It's cold in the basement and I wanted to put on a nice comfy sweater.
All right. But how to know when it's time
I don't know when it's time to add a bookkeeper to your...
add a bookkeeper. I think you just need a humorous line, like a subtitle. Because here's the thing about your title, it's very clear. And I bet you people would be very interested in, when do I add a bookkeeper?
Okay.
But I think you do need, just because I know your personality, I think a funny, either there could be a little bit of humor in the talk description,
Right.
because I'm gonna continue to read that, or a funny one-liner as the subtitle. And it could be something like about the root canal that you talk about, which you might as well tell everybody, because now everybody who's listening to this audio is going to be like, what root canal?
Because 4 out of 5 of you would rather have a root canal than do your books.
Thank you. Love that.
I put my email in the
I
chat.
saw.
Great.
I'm just going to make sure I save the chat.
Generally, I always try and go for something that's like, what is the expectation? How do I subvert that? Is a bookkeeper the missing superhero in the Marvel multiverse? You know, that's sort of suggesting something funny and light, but we can talk about it offline.
Okay. I'll email you and maybe we'll have a half-hour coffee call.
Adam's good at stuff like that. And he's been speaking himself and is going to be volunteering at PodFest, as a matter of fact. So I'm actually going to get a chance to meet Adam in person. I would love to go around the room and share. And Charlotte, are you still here? Would you be able to? Oh, there you are. Great. Would you, I just figured I would let you go first, since.
Yeah, I find some way to pull out, be right with, you know, and I'm great that I finally made it call. One of my goals this year, I really want to lock in one paid speaking opportunity workshop or be your grandma. And I've got a lined up already. And one of them is like, it'll be like higher paid speaking. Well, I'm done. I feel really excited, really pushing me out of my comfort.
Good.
I'm probably just more like thinking of it, we should be accountable. Yeah, accountability. Picking out those opportunities that you bring up. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I really like what you were saying around teachers and seeing what they've got coming up and actually following people who do similar work. That was really done that. Really that deeper on that. I feel like really good opportunities. What I feel like gone. But yeah, thank you so much. It was just a really conversation to let people and be a part of. But yeah, I definitely think yeah, speaking really feels like we're at that. And I know that we did that one-to-one work together, like some good opportunities. But I'm really feeling like now is the time to really step into being that speaker that I aspire to be. So this is, I don't know, thank you. It's brilliant.
Thank you, Charlotte. Charlotte, would you tell everybody what you speak on and where they can find you?
So what do I think? I guess essentially, first and foremost, I'm a woman self-care coach. I speak on a range of subjects from like self-care, boundary setting. I do speak to farmer groups on farmer well-being because that's a really big thing. Yeah, it's hard to kind of work from that side of from self-care, really.
Yeah, that's how I know you is really based around self-care. So thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm glad that you were able to make this one.
Right.
Adam, would you go next?
I'd be happy to. My name's Adam Olin, founder of Russell and Spark, a branding and marketing agency grounded in storytelling. And I teach people how to tell their story, to increase sales, retention, productivity, and so very much more.
Yes. And he just recently did a speaker breakthrough session. He said yes to that, which, by the way, everybody, if you ever wanted to sign up for a speaker breakthrough session, you can just go to speakandstandout.com/SBS for speaker breakthrough session. And you can be on a future episode of Be in Demand.
Do it.
Thank you, Adam. Lawrence, you're next.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lawrence Fox from Accounting Wizard Solutions, and I am the usually bow tie wearing, but the always fountain pen wielding online CPA. And I work with coaches, consultants, and creatives in Canada who would rather have root canal than do their books. And I normally talk about, well, the 5 things that make me go arg, otherwise known as how to drive your accountant crazy. And as we said, it's time to add a bookkeeper to your team, and I haven't have a good line for that one yet. And you can find me hanging out at www.accounting-wizard.com, my newly revamped website with photos from my new photo shoot that I know that Laurie-Ann and Carolyn have already seen. And we just did it last night, released the website.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Amy.
Hello. I have an online course called No BS Living. And it is geared towards women in the second half of their life who have spent the first half of their life taking care of everybody else and are now wondering what's next for them. And so that's what I do.
Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at amymoeller.com or nobsliving.com. And we'll probably launch a podcast in the second or third quarter of the year. I've been talking about it and working on it a little bit, but yeah.
I'm going to pretend.
Haven't spoke yet.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that word probably start.
Oh yeah, I will. I definitely will. I absolutely will.
Yeah. Okay. Andrea.
Yes.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Andrea Merrill. I'm a storytelling, monetization strategist and coach, and I work with speakers to help them monetize. I have my master's in psychology, and you can find me hanging out most likely on Instagram and LinkedIn at the Andrea Merrill.
Thank you. Sherry.
Hello?
You got it.
Okay, great. Okay, I'm Sherry. I'm Sherry Glover. Hi, everybody. Like I just mentioned, I'm just starting to get into the speaking world. I brand myself as the model motivator, so I just turned that into a company. And I'm also an event planner, so I'm merging the two. I'm having my first in-person event this year, and I'm going to be educating people about the fashion and entertainment world, models and actors, to learn more about the business of how to get into it. I'm starting a podcast this year as well called the Model Motivator Podcast. I'm on Instagram at Sherry_Glover, the Model Motivator. And I'm building my website as well. So it's a lot going on.
Fantastic.
Yes, ma'am. And I also actually have visual impairment. So I've been working in the disability field for 17 years.
Well, thank you very much for all that you do. Take it away, Carolyn.
Oh, gosh. My heart breaks for therapists and service providers who traditionally only make money when they're one-on-one with clients bi-hourly. So what I do is I show creative service providers like therapists and coaches how to take their skills and go one-to-many so that then they can earn extra income and get paid time off without having to worry about not being at work, and especially without that awful debate about should I continue raising my rates. And my website, people can connect with me at carolynrobisto.net. And there's just this handy little box that says like, hey, what brought you here? So that I can point people exactly towards the topic that I'm an expert on that fits for them, because my wheelhouses include a lot of work with brain spotting and habit change and how it plays into our ability to take traditional one-to-one services and make them one-to-many.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So you will get an email to sign up for next month, or you can go to speakandstandout.com/community to sign up for next month, which I believe is February 10th. And if you are listening to this and would like to be a part of this podcast episode, please go over to speakandstandout.com/community, and you can be a part of next month's intimate training. Thank you very much, everybody. I look forward to seeing you in the future and on stages.